Hi everyone, it's Monday again, and I have a little Flip It Valentine card here to share with you today, and gonna make that together. So let's get started. The physics die that I'm using is the Flip It card, and it's a square one, and I've already cut it out, and so this is what it looks like cut out, and then you fold it, hang on, fold it this way, and the short end, or the, okay, so I think I call this the thick end and I call this the short end. So the short end needs to be in front, okay, and that would be on the right, in front and on the right. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around towards me just for a moment. What I'm going to do is also take some white cardstock. Nope, wrong one. This one. This cardstock. And I'm going to take my Tim Holtz stamp, the Cupid from Tim Holtz Silhouettes, Valentine Silhouettes, I think is what it's called. And I'm going to use some picked raspberry distress ink, and I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to ink it up really well. And then I'm going to stamp it on this piece of, it's watercolor paper, very thick watercolor paper, but I wanted something very substantial. You know, got a cat hair. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it here, press as hard as I can, because this is textured paper, so I want to get as much on there as I can, and it's modeled because it's textured paper. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for a second, and I'm going to get my coffee filter, and now I'm going to take some Versamark ink, embossing ink, and I'm going to wipe off my distress ink off of there real quick, and I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to ink my stamp now with this Versamark. Make sure I get it nice and juicy. And then I'm going to re-stamp on here, and it's okay if you aren't quite exact, just, you know, something pretty close will work. And the reason that I'm not stamping just with the Versamark to begin with is because I want that picked raspberry ink to show through my glitter. Okay, so I've got the embossing on there, embossing ink on there, and I'm going to use, where is it, the Ranger sticky embossing powder on here. So I'm going to just sprinkle it on. Now, what I mean by sticky embossing powder is that this embossing powder turns into an adhesive when it's melted. Okay, let me put this back in the jar. And I always seem to shake some onto my mat, and wish I wouldn't do that, but I always do. Okay, so now let's emboss with my heat gun. One thing I like about this is that when I emboss it, then the ink behind it, the picked raspberries ink behind it, gets more intense. So now I have a sticky surface, and I'm going to use, you can use anything you want. You can use the distress glitter or any glitter that you want, but I happen to have some crystal glitter Ritz. It's very micro fine glitter, and this is the warm highlight. It comes in a cool highlight and a warm highlight. And this one is the warm highlight, and I hope you could see it. I don't know if you can, but it has the glitter has like some warm colors in it, gold colors in it, orange and yellow, and the cool highlights have more of an icy and blue and purple sparklies. I hope I'm not explaining that really well, but I hope you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to pour this over top of it. Make sure I get it everywhere. Okay, and this is, because it's so fine, it's really, really hard to contain. So I know I'm going to get a lot of this. So if you don't mind looking at my coffee filter real quick, I'm going to put this in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and toss this coffee filter because it's got so much of the fine glitter on it. I don't know if you can see those warm highlights sparkling there or not. Maybe. I hope so. Okay. Now I'm going to take a brush, paintbrush, and just kind of brush that fine glitter off from around, maybe onto there, just in case I missed any places. And now I'm going to take it down and I'm going to knock it against my trash can to knock as much off of there as I can and get it off of my mat. Okay. My cat is on the top of my chair, and when I push in, sometimes she almost falls, and she almost did just now. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut around this. So let me take it from the bulk here, and I will try to do this as quickly as I can. And when I do this, I do try to leave a small white space around it. And I think I'm going to switch scissors because my tonic scissors do a little better job of this than those Fiskars do. Okay. So that I don't have to worry about, even though I'm fussy cutting, so I don't have to worry about all the really intricate parts like of this about halfway through here. Could have done this before turning on the camera, but I did want to show you the process of getting the color and the glitter on. This is very thick paper, so it's a little difficult to cut. But for what I'm going to do with it, the sturdiness of this paper really works well. Okay, so I'm getting those intricate parts around the wings, but I don't really have to worry too much about them because I'm leaving this white border around it. Okay, and then I'm going to come up around here. I'm really not worrying too much if my border is even all the way around either, because you know I'm just not going to look that. Okay, so we've got that. So now I'm going to pull out my card again. And I want to, if you note, I want you to see that my Cupid is on an action wobble. So that's what we're going to do. That's why I needed the sturdiness. An action wobble is just the funnest little thing. It looks like this. And I'm going to put this on and then put the my Cupid on it. But I think what I want to do first is the back part of this card. And I'm going to, I didn't really show you, but I've also got the hearts stamped back here for just a little bit of interest in the back. So let's take care of that first. When I made my sample card, I put my action wobble on first, and then I had a little trouble with the rest of the elements on the card, so I hesitated, so I kind of learned from my mistake the first time. So there, got a little bit of interest on the back of the card, like that. And the next thing I need to do is I cut a small square that would fit just inside the flip it square, that. So I'm going to attach it with some roller adhesive. The paper that I'm using at the moment is core cardstock. So you see these areas here, that's why, because it's core cardstock, but I don't care because it's the pink core anyway. Here's what's the rest of the piece that I use. So this is what you see when you see those places, and that's okay with me. So next I took a spellbinder die, and it is the Labels 14 die, and I used, I think, the third or fourth one, and I ran it through my big kick and cut that out so that I would have a label. And my sentiment stamp is by Art Impressions, and they have some really fun stamps, some really cool stamps, and this one says, "Valentine, you're amazing." So I want to put this on a smaller block, and I'm going to ink it again with the picked raspberry. Got a little bit out here that I don't want on there, and here. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that on here. And then I'm going to spray this with Perfect Pearls. And spray it very lightly with Perfect Pearls. And I'm going to hold that out to the side away from me so that I don't get it all over my mat. And this is the Perfect Pearl spray. So that's going to need to dry off a little bit. I'll hit it with my heat gun on the back, and that should flatten it out pretty well. There we go. I'm going to take a pop dot and I want to make sure that I put this the right way. Okay, let's see. Sometimes I get confused. Okay. I think that I put my paper on the wrong side. Yes, I did. Alright, let me pull that up real quick if I can. Yeah. Yay! Okay, I'm so sorry. Now let's try this again. Put this mat right here where it belongs. And then I'm going to put a pop dot right here. I think I'll put 2 on it, 1 on each side, so that it's not flopping around. Okay. And I'm going to put that at an angle. Okay, so we've got that side done. Now I'm going to turn it back over to this side. Now I'm going to work with my my action wobble. So there's a side that says put this side down, right there. So I'm going to take off the backing, and this is adhesive. And I'm going to set this down right in the middle. Okay, now I want to check and make sure that I have everything going the right way. Now before I do that, I'm also going to take some tulle. I bought it in a roll, and this will last several lifetimes. And I just cut off a small piece, and I tied a knot in it. And I think I'm going to trim this down just a little more. And I got both of these bows out of a piece that I cut off about, maybe this wide. So like I said, this will last several lifetimes. And it was very inexpensive. I don't remember how much it was, but it was only a few dollars. Okay, so I want to adhere this to this, or little wings. So I'm going to put down a little adhesive. There we go. Could possibly use a glue dot for this as well. Okay, put a little more over here. Okay, so you got that adhered. Now I'm going to take the backing off of this part of the pop of the action wobble, and I'm going to set her down, trying to make sure that she's well contained within my square area, and press, and there we have it. So you do this right. Okay, so here's our I'm trying, I get so mixed up. Let's see. Okay, so our card needs to look like okay, like that. Okay, there we go. There's our card. And I probably could have put this just a little bit more this way to make sure that I don't get caught. In the turning of it. I have one piece of hair that just doesn't want to go away. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to adhere my my rhinestones. I bought a huge bag. I think it was like a 3 or 4 pound bag at Joann's that will also last me a couple of lifetimes. It was $4.99 and I used the 40% off coupon. And I've used so many of these, and I haven't even begun to dip into that bag. Okay, so I'm going to use glossy accents to put those on. So this card doesn't take very long to make, and it's pretty simple, but it has a lot of dimension and it has a lot going on. There we go. Okay, so let's make sure those grab before I pick it up. So here we go. Here's our Valentine card, and we've got Cupid with his net wings and bow on the front, and you open it up and he says, "Valentine, you're amazing." Okay, so I hope you'll get some action wobbles. If you don't know where to find them, contact me and I'll help you with that. Oh, one more thing I want to do is put some Perfect Pearl spray on. So I'm going to set down my coffee filter and going to spray a little bit of that around. Don't want to get too much, and so if I do get too much, then I'm just going to take my paper towel and blot it in a couple of places. And also want to wipe off my rhinestones because I don't want. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next week.